kind of feel bad for Draymond. Kind of feel bad for Draymond because sometimes you get caught up in a situation and it's just like, well, how'd you get here? Well, Draymond Green put himself here. Austin Rivers is now a media person. He has podcasts. He speaks his mind. He's very, very opinionated. And he was on I believe he was on Dan Patrick's show. And he was talking about what Draymond had discussed on his podcast. He said that him and Steve Kerr have had, their battles, and, he respects Steve Kerr. He loves Steve Kerr. And, Steve Kerr has done so much for him in his career. He wouldn't be a Hall of Famer without Steve Kerr. He wouldn't have the success and the championships without Steve Kerr. But at the same time, there's another side to it. Like, he feels that Steve Kerr held him back from being a better individual player. Like, he could have been able to put up better numbers as a player if it wasn't for Steve Kerr. But at the same time, Steve Kerr made him a champion. So he's forever grateful. And Austin Rivers was just like, so you're talking negative about the guy that literally helped create this dynasty. Steph, Clay, you, Steve Kerr, Iguodala, Sean Livingston. The list goes on of great players that were there that helped develop this culture. And you're upset because you think that you would have had a better individual statistical career. So what does it matter? You're a Hall of Famer because of what he designed and what you sacrificed to do so for the team. Leave it there. Like, there's a lot of players that have sacrificed. Like, and that's the point. So he was saying it's just like there's no reason for him to be able to like go in like that. So Draymond responds and was just like, "Oh, well, it's kind of funny how, you're shocked about, what I said when your NBA career wasn't nothing." And I'm paraphrasing at this point. And he was just like, your daddy gave you the biggest bailout, since Donald Trump. And what he means by that, because Austin Rivers is the son of Doc Rivers. Austin Rivers was a very good player in college as well as high school. Went to Duke for a year, got drafted, was a number 10 or 11 pick in that draft with Draymond. Draymond was a second round pick. And his NBA career just it didn't pan out how it was supposed to. He had a decent career, averaged like 8.5 points a game, was a role player, went to the Clippers, got a bag from the Clippers, and was able to become a pretty decent role player in his time with the Clippers, just because he was able to play a lot freer. He had a choice of going to New York and decided to go to the Clippers just because his father was there, and he was able to play the style of basketball that was more conducive for his style, his skill set. So he went to the Clippers. So this is what his response was after Draymond had said what he said.
Come on, Draymond. This is ridiculous. Seriously. Ridiculous. But you know what? I'm going to address it because you crossed the line and you were mad disrespectful for whatever reason. You've been around too long. We both were drafted in the same class. The fact that you don't have the wherewithal to do your due diligence and actually understand I was being highly complimentary of you on the Dan Patrick show. But it's you, and I shouldn't be surprised. You always act irrationally, emotionally immature, and your anger always puts you in hot water. So here I am having to address a video of you belittling my career. First off, Draymond, we weren't the same players in high school. I don't care about our numbers being similar. I did it at the national level, the top level. Hence why I got the Naismith Award, and I got pretty much every award you could think of in high school. I was ranked number one. You were ranked, I don't know. So cut it out. Next. College, you actually were a really good college basketball player, but it's hard to compare because I was only there for 6 months, something you could never do. Talk about I was, one of the featured guys. No, I was the guy. I led my team in scoring. I was first team All-ACC, freshman player of the year, lottery pick. Stop. Next, the NBA. Hey, man, you got it, Dre. I mean, listen, I played in the NBA for more than 10 years, more than a decade, but 11 years, but I'm not a Hall of Famer like you. So I'll give you that credit. All right, you got it. But let's peel back that onion and understand why. Easy, Tiger. Okay? You have the delusion, the non-wherethought, the irony of you saying I'm part of the biggest bailout in NBA history. Draymond, you were the luckiest basketball player I think I've ever seen, especially in modern day history. Let's talk about that. You were drafted to a franchise with the Hall of Fame front office, Bob Myers, Hall of Fame coach, Steve Kerr, the greatest shooter of all time, and perhaps a top 5 player of all time, Steph Curry, Hall of Famer. One of the greatest shooters, top 5 shooter of all time, another Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson. The Swiss Army knife himself, the guy who could do a little bit of everything on the floor, Andre Iguodala, another Hall of Famer. I know, keep up, it's a lot of talent. Not to mention one of the most lethal scorers of all time and arguably a top 10 player of all time, Kevin Durant, the same guy you chased off because of this, your mouth. You talk too much. And that's not even counting the plethora of talent around those guys. The Sean Livingstons, the Barbosas, the Andrew Wiggins, the Jordan Pooles, who you also chased off. Cut it out. Draymond, you're the backpack jump shooter. You're the guy that everyone leaves open. No one guards you. There are hours and hours and hours of film of just you being left wide open. In fact, anybody can just YouTube or Google or watch any Draymond game ever, and he's open all game. There are clips of you getting a rebound and just driving in a straight line and just getting a wide open layup because everyone's fanning out to guard the actual talent on the team. Talk about Steve Kerr hindered your career. Bro, Steve Kerr made your career. How dare you? Coming at me? Are you kidding me? I wish I could give my son $200 million if I was a coach. Yo, the NBA doesn't give coaching jobs to guys who may or may not sucker punch one of the players and staff. You need to fall back, Dre. Let's just be frenemies.
Mm. 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 That's how you put somebody in their place. Because for me, it's just like, yes, Austin Rivers is a lesser player than Draymond Green in their careers. But just because Austin Rivers is a lesser player than you in your career, you feel that he doesn't have the right to speak to you, which is bullshit. Mm-hmm. He's a frat brother just like anybody else. He played in the league. It's not like he played 2 years and was out of the league. He played 11 years in the NBA. That's not bad. You played 14 years. You're still with the same team. Shouts to you. Salute. It's an accomplishment. You won 4 championships. You're a part of one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. Cool. But that doesn't give you the right to be able to clap at a dude that's literally just telling you, hey, listen, I don't necessarily believe what you're saying is all that valid because, yeah, you might have had the pathway to put up more points, but would that really equate to you winning more championships? The answer is no. Your role was the point forward to set up Steph Curry, set up Klay Thompson, and play Hall of Fame level defense and be the emotional enforcer for this team. That was your role. You believed that you deserved a higher role when you really didn't. When Kevin Durant got here, Kevin Durant was the guy. So you think that they were going to set plays for you? So you were going to you were supposed to get a play package between Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry? What plays are they running for you when you got those 3? There's one basketball. We're not running no damn plays for you. You grab an offensive rebound and you kick that motherfucker back out. That's your role on this team. I say that because there's always had to be some level of sacrifice for players. Chris Bosh is a part of the Miami Heat dynasty. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. They called them the Heatles. LeBron James was LeBron James. Dwayne Wade was able to figure out his game in regards to, finding his spots to be able to be effective. You know whose game got affected the most out of the three? Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh ended up had to become a stretch four. What that means, Silent Assassin, is that a guy 6'9", 6'10", almost 6'11", had to stretch out to the three-point line because LeBron James needed more room to be able to create, get to the basket, find open shooters. So because of that, Chris Bosh had to start playing the outside. It's had to develop a three-point shot because that way he was going to be a lot more effective playing with a LeBron James. There was no plays really run for Chris Bosh like that. I think they probably had a package where there's a 5% package in there, 10% package maybe for him. But he had to find different ways to be able to get open and be effective. He had to sacrifice his game because coming from Toronto, he was a 20-10 guy. When he was with Miami, he was more of a 15-7 guy, 16-7 guy, 18-8 guy. You had to do things to be able to help your team. It's not your skill set. Chris Bosh can average 30 if he wanted to. That's not what the team required of him. That's not what Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat required of him. They required sacrifice from a great player. And because of that sacrifice, they won 2 out of 4 championships. Got to 4 straight NBA finals. Those are the sacrifices that a lot of role players have to make. Superstars don't make sacrifices. It's the role players that do. And Draymond Green was a star in his role. He was a superstar role player, or a star role player, if you want to say that. But just because you are on Mount Rushmore of role players doesn't necessarily mean you have to kick somebody else's back in because you don't agree with what they said, because you feel that he's not on the same level. Then how many players are on the same level that can be able to have the conversation? And here's what goes into my next point.
Nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
You said what you said. I want to hear if he believes what you're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is just to not look like you in the Houston Rockets uniform.
Yeah.
Is ultimately the goal for us. Like, we don't want to.
What does that look like?
Did you see it?
I'm just asking.
I saw it.
Nobody wins when they're 30.
By Mario.
So Charles Barkley.
Nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
You said what you said.
Charles Barkley said that the Warriors dynasty is over, right? Nobody necessarily wins championships when they're 37, 38 years old in the NBA. It's very hard to do because you've been together so long. There's attrition. There's wear and tear. It's just over, right? Like Steve Kerr's thinking about coming back to. They just need to rip the fucking Band-Aid off and just blow it up. That's what they need to do. I've said that the Warriors are done. I said that to start the season. They were done. And boy, oh boy, was I right. They're done. It's been a great ride. 14 years, 4 championships, many playoff appearances, many finals appearances. But it's over. It's over. And that's all Charles Barkley was saying to him. And his response to Charles Barkley, maybe he was trying to be tongue-in-cheek, but it fell on deaf ears because it wasn't funny. Because he was saying, oh, well, we just don't want to look like Charles Barkley with the Rockets. What does that mean? Because the first year of Charles Barkley with the Rockets, he averaged 19 and 14. What are we talking about? If you go ahead and compare Charles Barkley's 4-year tenure, his last 4 years with the Rockets, and Draymond's last 4 years with the Golden State Warriors, they're not even close. Even when Charles Barkley was washed up, he said himself he couldn't even play basketball anymore. He was still 15 and 10. He was still a beast. Draymond's best year in his career, he averaged a little under 15 points a game. So again, when you go ahead and you have legends that are giving you game. And Charles Barkley is one of the greatest, commentators, analysts of our time. And the one thing that I love about him is that he can joke on himself. Self-depreciating or self-deprecating, or whatever they call it, right? Like, he knows how to laugh at himself. In a situation where Charles Barkley is being funny and saying, yo, you an old-ass dude now, man. You need to be sitting over here with us. Like, your dynasty's over. It's a wrap. Instead of you playing into it and being funny and being cool, you end up trying to still puff your chest out. That don't make sense. Your run is over. You're not going to be an elite team anymore. It came out of your mouth that you might not be a championship caliber team going forward. So you guys have to reassess or redefine what you feel is like clutch, or what you redefine as winning or successful. So there's a lot that goes into this. So it's not just, Charles Barkley he doesn't have the right to say it. Every player, every writer has an opinion, and they have the right to be able to express that. Austin Rivers did his, Charles Barkley did his, and in both situations, you don't handle yourself well. So it's more of a Draymond thing than it is anything else. He needs to grow up and realize that criticism is okay. And just because guys don't have 4 championships doesn't mean that they can't necessarily dissect whatever you said and have an opinion on it. Whatever you said was public record. Whatever you said was in the public zeitgeist. Somebody can be able to comment on that. You have the right to respond, and they also have the right to respond. So, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's just like, come on, dude. Get over yourself.